It's not easy to win in a new category. Easy to launch, not easy to win. And as entrepreneurs and builders, you see a challenge, you don't want to ignore the challenge, you want to overcome the challenge. Also, most recently opened up Urban Company to products. I'm Varun Khaitan. I'm a co-founder of Urban Company. We started the company in 2014. I'm not sure if many of you are users, but today home cleaning and home painting are very large verticals. So we are picking our case study documented by the Harvard Business School. And this talks about a time in early 2020 when the company was at an interesting point in time, one impacted by COVID because of the nature of our business and services being human contact in their homes. So how we were thinking about becoming resilient and becoming relevant for the COVID times and thinking about the growth of the business.
The case study was primarily around the backdrop of 2020, wherein Urban Company was deciding between four primary strategies. One was expanding categories, venturing into newer categories. The second one was premiumizing its offerings. Third one was exploring new customer segments. And the fourth was international expansion. So in each of these decisions, we had a very engaging conversation with Varun, and we were discussing what would have been the pros and cons of venturing into each of these strategies so that we can decide better between which strategy would have worked.
So I'd love for you guys to think and participate with me. And I'm sure as you went through the case, you had your own favorite. So maybe we can start with the first one. And folks who felt category expansion would be the right path forward. Maybe one of you can raise your hand and talk about why.
The number of people who are moving from the mass segment to mass premium segment is at least at 10-12% year on year. To take one family out of the 5 million customers or 5 million households that you are serving, to take one ideal family from the right in the middle of the haystack and see their journey through an year, what would, starting from January 1st to December 31st, what would their spend be like? How many times would their AC get broken? How many times would they paint for Diwali or Christmas? Adding more services around this price point or higher price points, but to this segment would be relatively inexpensive, because otherwise if you have to go to affordable new segments, you are diluting the UC's mass premium appeal.
Very interesting. So you think stay with the customer segment, and obviously there's an assumption here that there will be many more needs that they have. So can we go through their needs? Other thoughts, maybe other people who also felt that this would be the right option? Yeah.
So I believe that this was the only option that let you leverage your existing customer base. For all the other options, you were actually looking for the affordable segment, you would have to again go through the acquisition journey. International, you would have to build the market again and figure out the right geography.
Very good point.
Growth at any cost was the metric, or was profitability also a concern?
See, growth is never growth at any cost in any company. Maybe for some time in the middle we forgot about the fundamentals of business, but growth always has growth along with good economics. That said, North Star is how do we become a much bigger company? So if in 2019, if we were close to 200 crores, how do we get to 1,000 crores over the next 3 years would be the simple North Star. For us, category expansion is not like e-commerce, traditional e-commerce category expansion. Here you have to really become the expert in every category. So beauty, cleaning, repairs, painting, that journey had told us it's not easy to win in a new category. Easy to launch, not easy to win. We used to at one point have almost 200 categories. So it also felt like we've seen most things and done a lot of trial and error. So that was sort of the con of the first strategy. Just like we would find it hard to expand, everybody else finds it hard to expand as well. So there aren't good salons. Repair companies don't provide their training in the smaller cities. So the ecosystem just does not know how to repair a new model of an air conditioner. So those are the reasons why there was big opportunity in the smaller cities as well. Each city would be by itself smaller population. So we had to also innovate on our launch model. How would we run the next set of cities? Because you couldn't deploy the same team that you could deploy in a larger city given the smaller size of market.
We could also break down an existing service into smaller sub-services. For example, if there's an X service which comprises of A, B and C, but there's a high frequency use case for B, we can reduce the cost for that. What we have also done in painting, like if you just want to do a wall, you can book an urban company, and in plumbing, if you just want to replace a tap, this can get the customer onto the platform, and then he can use other small ticket but high frequency SKUs as well.
That's a superb point. So every skill in itself also has levels. Like repairing of a plumber has simple jobs like repairing a leaky tap to more complex jobs like an entire pipeline. And painting goes from painting a wall to painting an entire home. We did, in the subsequent years, tierize our service professionals. So gave the more simpler jobs to younger, new service professionals, and their earning expectations can also be tiered. Someone who's 2 years in to someone who's 10 years in can start off lower and grow earnings over time. So we did 2 skill tierization as a means of both allowing new service professionals to join the platform and a means of making the price points more affordable. So you can unlock new use cases as you think of making your services affordable, which is like just pure innovation driving affordability.
They also do a lot of unit economics and how does it work. So usually whenever they are venturing into smaller price SKUs, what they do is they also look at the volume or the frequency of use case. So that the reduction in price is sort of compensated by the higher frequency and higher usage of the service.
And one of the ideas I had is that we should premiumize the current offerings, which would give an entry point to the higher end users, which will have a larger revenue base we could tap into. Also, the current middle class and the mass premium audience which urban companies is currently catering to, how can we help them upgrade their lifestyle and give them options to kind of service and the quality of service they are expecting, and how do they level up?
Urban companies' moat is the standardization, because you can catch any electricity repairman on the road, you can catch any AC repairman on the road, you can go to any salon and pay like $30 and get your eyebrows done. But the quality of service that you get in urban company can only be achieved because they own the training, they employ the professionals in a gig model. So because of that entire ownership, they have been able to provide the kind of services in terms of quality that people are willing to pay urban company prices for.
Quick reactions. International expansion. Why should we do it? Why would it work?
Basically doesn't leverage practically any of the strengths that urban company has developed. So knowing the customer and having penetration on the service provider side as well as a service consumer side, it doesn't leverage any of those, and it foregoes the Indian market. So that leaves the door open for other providers to come in and essentially take away market share from urban company during the international expansion phase.
Good point, Ankit. Very, very hard, very alien. One doesn't have an intuition for it, and it can take away focus from a market that's working.
So when I look at expansion across borders, US as a market is a developed market. It is quite saturated, and one of the key things about a developed market is that most of the problems are solved for. So from a point of view of global footprint and ambition, I think it wasn't the best of moves.
What could be ways of actually overcoming the first challenge? Yes, it is difficult. If you crack it, you could be a much bigger company. And as entrepreneurs and builders, you see a challenge, you don't want to ignore the challenge, you want to overcome the challenge. How would one think about successfully doing this?
Let's say in a country like Indonesia, similar service already exists, or parts of it exist. Maybe we can acquire all of those and combine them into a new urban company, because these people already have some sort of a foothold, maybe in one services, two services. They know the market to some degree, which to be honest we don't, and that will essentially just give us a kickstart into it.
Yeah, great point. You could leverage an already existing business or local talent. It was always about what kind of company do we want to look back when we are sitting in 2040, and the potential regret of not having built a world-changing company and not a India-changing company, because it was very clear to us that services were fairly broken in many other parts of the world. So we did give it a shot in many countries. It worked beautifully in a few. It did not work so well in some. Maybe learnings for another day. Also, most recently opened up Urban Company to products, because we tried something very outside our comfort zone. Yet something that we very deeply believed was a space that was broken and needed disruption. I do think most consumer segments in India are growing very fast and almost leapfrogging with the help of technology. The new India is really wanting things to be much better than the status quo. So our water purifiers are actually selling extremely well, much more than we had imagined when we started 6 months ago.
One of the biggest aha moments for me was when he was talking about the water purifier, which is their newest release. Because the thing is, Urban Company has always been a service-based company. Their entire model has been enabling services, and this is a product. But the way Varun explained how they reached their insight of what customers really want, that the modern Indian customer deserves a modern Indian appliance in their home that does not need to be, taken apart every 6 months for like a filter change or something like that. I think that was a huge learning for me.
One thing which was very evident about UC is that they prioritize quality over costs when it comes to their customers. They want to give better quality services, more customer satisfaction. When I think about their product, it actually made perfect sense. As spoken by the co-founder himself, over the last couple of years, they've repaired around 1 million or so water filters, and each of them know exactly what goes into making one as well as what goes into repairing one, because traditionally water filters need repair parts every year, which leads to extra expenses. So this is one value that they are willing to solve, and like these, there are other such products that they could further dive into, which they are already repairing. It could be probably washing machines, fridges, because they're spending the entire day working with those products, those machine parts and everything. So white labeling them and selling it to the customers could be an excellent business model going forward. And since India is a rising income population, I think that the market size is pretty big for electronics, one of the biggest contributors to our GDP, and that they could touch profitability soon enough.
I think productizing at least part of their revenue is definitely going to help them scale, because a product can be shipped out, right? But a service, especially how involved Urban Company is in the services that they provide, means that there is a slight cap on scale depending on their own capacity to onboard, train, maintain quality and all of that.
Consumers hate the current ROs because they require so much repair and servicing. We also realized the current companies make half their business selling you an RO for 12,000 rupees and make half their business by opening and replacing stuff inside it every year.
These traditional companies, their service, back-end service sometimes slack. Their way to do things are way by the book, wherein they still demand the original copy of the bill and so on and so forth, without which repairs would not be done for free and they would charge extra. So I think Urban Company can disintermediate that entire segment, come in as a player, and since they already have access to the homes of their customers, it would be easier to cross-sell such products going ahead in the future.
And there are other things. It's a connected device. So no longer can someone come and say, RO kharab hai, sab badalna padega. You can open your app and see what does the app tell you about the filter health of all your 10 filters, because it is a smart device now. So it's no longer a black box. And it is a beautiful looking device. Operates with touch. It fills a glass or a bottle without you having to stand there and build biceps while filling water. People want modern, new age things, not relics of the past in their kitchens or in their house or on them. And I really wish you the very best ahead. I think you guys are in the right place, right time. You're born, the Warren Buffett calls this the ovarian lottery. I think we've all won the ovarian lottery. We're born in the right country at the right time. And I hope you guys will dream big, be confident and really march out there and script a future that will make each of you proud looking back, and it will make the folks at Mesa and Ankit very proud. Thank you.